None of us wake up and say, today is the day I destroy my life. What we do is we make these teeny tiny decisions all day long. We don't even realize it. All day long, these tiny decisions that take you so far off track. And then you wake up like I did and you look at your life and you think, how the hell did I get here? And you have no idea.
The most powerful tool that you have right now in your life, in your body, is your mind. That's why the enemy fights you in your mind. The devil doesn't have to tie you up for you to be bound. He just has to tie up your head.
Right now, we have the most valuable asset on earth on our side, time. But it's running out. And right now, you guys are sitting there. And to make that first step towards greatness is the hardest step. There is one thing harder than that, my friends. It's later in life. As you look back on your life, the windows of opportunity has closed. Your ability is no longer present. Right now, you had the ability to never have that debate inside your head. That's the debate you can never win.
I don't know what dream you have, but I can guarantee you that there's somebody in the hospital right now praying, begging God to have the opportunity that you have right now. Don't blow it. It is time to go from mediocre to meteoric. It is time to go from being counted out to being counted on.
An hour lost today is an hour lost forever. Whatever drives you, that's what's shaping your life, and the challenge is that most of us never consciously decide what we're going to have drive our life. See, we're not stimulus response animals, but we can be stimulus response animals.
We surround ourselves around people that make us feel great. They tell us what we want to hear. The second we put ourselves amongst the uncommon people, we don't like that feeling. I don't know, I've lost my edge. What's going on? Because once you hit the top of the mountain, guess what happens? I'm good. I'm good, so you wonder why you're falling down now. Because once you reach the top of the mountain, you got to build another one. That's mediocrity. There's a lot of people in mediocrity who have a nice resume, but they're one-timers, man.
Takes guts. You got to dig down deep to cut it out. Keep on going again and again and again until you make it happen, because you know that it's possible. Now, what do you do during the hard times, Les? You must have faith.
It's possible to finish something before you start. In fact, it would be a bit foolish to start until you had it finished. So human beings have this remarkable ability to finish something and then start it. So it's possible to see the end, then begin.
Not only is it possible, that's probably the best time to do it. When circumstances and situations are pressing in upon us, the only way we can overcome them is to go within, to actually begin to ask very empowering questions, with the awareness that this universal presence and its law will answer any question that you ask.
So make this note: dreams and goals can become magnets. And the stronger the goal, the higher the purpose, the more powerful the objective, the stronger this magnet is that pulls you that direction. Now, not only does your goals and your objectives pull you that direction, here's what they also do. They pull you through.
We must not be negative. Just negative talk gets us in so much trouble.
So your comforts are now, so your discomfort is now very minuscule to your discomfort back here. And so you have to go back to the total discomfort to then raise your level of where you're at now.
It's just looking in the mirror and telling yourself the story that you want. And a lot of people tell the story that everybody else wants them to tell, right? So the marketing message is that the story is being told from out here, and then you're bringing it to you. What you have to do is tell the story you want.
I'll give you one because this profoundly impactful. You're more likely to believe something negative than you are something positive. Now think about how that can echo through your life. Each of us has to realize that all of the beliefs that we have in our life are choices.
You have control of this. This belongs to you. This is yours. You're the captain. You're the master. You're the foreman. You're the general. You're the head. Don't give control of this to nobody, especially the devil. Do not let Satan come in here and function, because he has one mission: to keep you off course, to make you not think it's possible, to make you think that God don't hear you, to make sure that you don't become what God intended for you to become. That's the mission of the devil. Now, if you don't believe in the devil, this conversation ain't for you. If you don't believe in God, this conversation ain't for you. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people who are spiritually based.
See yourself there. See yourself in possession of. Decide what you want and then act as if you already had it. Decide what you want and act as if it was already yours. Now, the reason we can act thinking that it's already ours is because not only can we vision the end results, we can also vision the beginning of making it real. Some people let the past pull them back, pull them back. The past can be like gravity if you let it, to pull you back. Not just to think about it, to get advice from mistakes to carry on for the future. But some people live in the past. They live in the darkness of the past. They live in the mistakes of the past. They live in the discouragement of the past. They didn't make it, and that affects them for the rest of their life, living in the past. So we don't want the future, the past, to pull us back, to live in the past.
All of us have experienced some tragedy, and if we haven't, we will. And you can either let it destroy your life, or you can build upon it. You can permit it to let it hold you down, or you can decide, I'm not going to let that happen to me. I'm bigger than this. Make a declaration to yourself. Declare all out war that you're going to get out of this rut.
I am sick and tired of people coming to me saying that they had a setback. It is a part. I love the sun, but things don't grow because of the sun. You have to have some rain. And you gotta stop looking at rain in your life as something bad.
Gratitude erases negativity. I'm gonna show you how this works. If you wake up in the morning, you start having negative thoughts. Man, this ain't my day. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I'm tripping, I just don't feel myself. Every time you feel, in the middle of the day, if you feel yourself doing that, stop, just stop for a second. And start going over in your mind everything you have to be grateful for. Not everything you want, everything you already have. Because what you have is substantial. You just haven't gone over the list and taken inventory in a long time. But the fact that you can walk, that's a blessing. The fact that you have an opportunity to get it right is another blessing. The fact that you're beautiful, that's another blessing. The fact that you have any measure of health, that's another blessing. And I'm just talking to you, I don't even know you. I could give you 50 things you ought to be grateful for right now. I don't even know you. Start coating your mind with gratitude. It'll change everything for you.
Faith is the ability to see things that don't yet exist. And that's how things exist. How did this hotel get here? Someone saw it while the property was vacant. You say, well, is it possible to see this hotel when it isn't here? And the answer is yes, of course. If somebody cannot see it when it is not here, then it will never be here. So it's possible to see things that don't yet exist.
I don't care how good you are. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. They just are not going to go right. There are times when anything that can happen will happen. Murphy's Law will be knocking at your door. Why? I don't know why. That's called life. Judge not according to appearances. Don't judge your circumstances and the possibilities for your future based upon what you have now and because of what's going on now. No. That's not the real reality there. What you're going through, if you're going through some hard times, it has not come to stay, it has come to pass.
Human beings, we can feel like we're special, and we can feel like no one's ever been through what I've been through, and the world is hard for me and easier for everyone else. Well, the reality is that's not true, and we're not special. And the things that people go through, other people have gone through, most likely much, much worse and much more significant. So that, to me, was it gave me at least some level of perspective to realize that other warriors had gone through this before. This was my turn, and this is how I'm going to try and handle it.
Okay, so how do we get to this point? How do we get to a point where we will move forward regardless of what's going on in life? Because this is something most people won't do. You know it too. It's not just you, it's most people. So if you can get you to do it, how much of an advantage does that give you over the rest of people? A fucking huge one. So what I would like you to consider is, how can you improve this part of your life? Well, it's real simple, guys. And I learned this lesson from a guitar teacher I had 10 years ago. All right. And he said to me, hey, Andy, you don't have any fucking patience. And I'm like, well, no shit, Matthew. I have fucking zero patience. And he's like, you know how you get patience? I said, how? And he says, by doing things that require patience. And that's what I want you to remember. If you need to understand and you need to develop how to operate regardless of what's going on in external circumstances when things are inconvenient, how do you get better at that? Well, you get better at that by doing things that are inconvenient intentionally. Okay, looking for opportunities to move forward when the circumstances are not ideal. All right. Looking for opportunities to make things harder on yourself. Looking for opportunities to develop the mental aspect of discipline and fortitude that are going to move you forward. Guys, this is a major, major, major key to winning long-term in life. All right. I'm not talking about motherfuckers that win once. I'm not talking about, that's not my people. That's not you. Okay. I'm talking about making a life where you are a perpetual winner in any direction you decide to go. All right. And this is a skill you're going to have to develop. So number one, realize, hey, do you have this or do you not? Take inventory of how many times you're talking yourself out of everything. Take inventory how many times you justify your lack of action based upon what's going on with your mood or your world or your relationship or your job. How many times are you talking yourself out of doing what you know you need to do? My guess is probably a lot more than you should be. All right. So guys, first realize that you have to build the skill. And secondly, start looking to actively build that. Now, a lot of people, all the fucking weak ass motherfuckers in the world will fucking comment, why would I work to make things harder on myself? This is fucking stupid. Who the fuck is this guy? Well, this is a motherfucker that built a whole lot of shit for fucking nothing, telling you how to fucking win. Okay. That's what it is. And I'm telling you that if you want to develop this superhuman skill of kicking ass every single time, no matter what the fuck is going on in your life, no matter what's going on in your world, no matter what's going on with the weather, no matter what's going on in our crazy ass society, if you want to learn how to kick ass, regardless of all those things, you will actively seek out opportunities to strengthen this muscle that is doing shit when it's not convenient. Okay? That's called discipline. Now, discipline, guys, is the key to everything. This is why I talk about it so much. If you could be in control of your decisions and your actions 100% of the time, what could you not accomplish? And how could you be held back? And how could you not get where you want to go? Because if we're being honest with ourselves, the reason you're not where you want to be can only be one of two things. It could be one, you're working the wrong plan. And in that case, there's lots of people out there, including me, that will help you figure out how to get on the right plan. Secondly, if you are on the right plan, it's that you're not doing it long enough. You haven't been doing it long enough, okay? And the reason that you probably haven't been doing it long enough is because you fucking talk yourself out of it every time the shit ain't convenient. Success and winning is not convenient. Success and winning is not comfortable. Success and winning in fucking life is going to be a daily fucking task for you.
I'm kind of antisocial, right? Like, if you don't know me, we're not going to have a conversation. You know, like, we're not having I'm not walking up and talking to you. If I don't know you, I'm not walking up and saying hi to you. It's not happening. It's not my personality. If you say hi to me, I'll say hi. I'm not disrespectful. I'm not rude, but I'm not looking to have a bunch of conversations with people. And so that's known to me. That's not okay for the business side of my life, which is, hey, I got to talk to people, got to build relationships, had to know my commanding officer, had to know the commodore, had to know the conventional battalion commander, had to know the brigade commander, had to build relationships. Could I just talk about the war with the brigade commander? Well, I could, but what's more powerful, that I talk about war and I talk about where I'm from or where he's from or what, other things? Yes, because I want to build a relationship. Why? Because I'm trying to build trust. What? Why? Because I want him to allow me to go out there and do things in his battle space. So that's what they're asking you. They're asking you to step out of your comfort zone. Does it need to become your primary focus? No. Should you try and step out of the comfort zone? If you want to grow, if you want to have more opportunity, I would give it a try. If not, like I said, if you hate it and you feel like you're not being true to your true self, that's okay. Maybe your true self is meant to be the one that's back not getting promoted. They need somebody to do that. Yeah. If it's not you, it might be somebody else.
Yeah.
It's another one of those tough questions where people, hit me with like, should I be loyal to myself? Because the obvious answer that everyone wants to hear is like, yeah, dude, the most important thing is you got to be loyal to yourself. That's the most important thing. Yeah. Okay. If that's what your priority is, then that's the most important thing. But guess what? Who can take care of the other kitchen dogs that respect you so much? Who can take a better care of them than you can? Because if you don't get promoted and Johnny Glamour Boy gets promoted because he likes to go out and schmooze the clients, and now he gets promoted, and now who's going to take care of the kitchen dogs on his time, right? Not him. He doesn't care. He got promoted not for taking care of his guys. He got promoted because he schmoozed the clients.
And so my thought process was, man, if I'm gonna give up on wind sprints, there's no way I could lead a family. I'm like, man, if I can't lead a huddle, there's no way I could lead my son and my daughter one day. I'm like, man, if I can't show up on time, there's no way I could lead a wife and 2 children. If I can't do what I say I'm gonna do, there's no way I could be a leader, a priest, and a protector and a provider. It's no way. And so what happens is you have people that look good, they look like Tarzan, but on the inside, they're Jane. You got people that know sports through and through, and to the public, they're public success, but behind closed doors, they're private failure. They can't get the same energy and the same passion to every aspect of their lives. To the thing they're passionate about, they can do it like no other. But in every aspect of their lives, they can't take that energy, that passion, that level of dedication and commitment to everything that they do and understand that it's a representation of who they are. At the end of the day, the core of who they are, it's almost like when you look at Adidas, impossible is nothing. When you look at Nike, you think just do it. And so I always ask people, when I look at you, what do I think? Excuses. When I look at you, do I think victory? Do I look at you? Do I think, man, that's a champion right there? That's a guy that I know I can rely on. And when things go south, he's still going to show up and give me everything he got. I told a guy 2 weeks ago, I said, brother, everybody know what to do when everything go right. I said, but the only question you haven't answered for me yet is, what are you going to do when you don't get what you thought you were going to get? What are you going to do when things go wrong? What are you going to do when you work for it and you put yourself in position to get the position, then they come to you and tell you don't have it and you feel played? Will you give up on the mission that you once had to impact lives? Like, the reason I thank you is because I know we need you. The reason I thank teachers all the time is I know we need them. My wife wanted to be a teacher from the time I met her and we was in the 2nd grade. And everybody at the park, like, man, I want to go to the NBA. I want to go to the NFL, Major League Baseball. She's like, I want to be a teacher. I'm like, teacher? She's like, yeah, I want to impact people's lives the way my 2nd grade math teacher impacted my life when I lost both of my parents and they got murdered on the same streets that we walked down to school. I'm like, man, it's deeper than that. I knew it was deeper than that when I met her in 8th grade math class, and our math teacher made us recite a proverb before school every morning. And one day we're walking to lunch and he tapped my shoulder and he said, man, you're going to marry that young lady one day. I said, you lost your mind. I need to get out of your class. I said, it was cool to teach me math. Now you're talking about my life. Like, you tripping. And he ended up walking my wife down the aisle at our wedding. And when he handed her off, he walked by me and winked. He said, I told you. But I'm sitting there thinking, how did he see it? And I started to backtrack and I said, I know exactly how he saw it. I was on a corner in my neighborhood one night with my uncles, and 2 of them are doing 40 years and 20 years in prison, federal penitentiary. And I was just standing there. Like, I wasn't doing no drugs, no drinking, none of that. I was a ball player. And a red Dodge Ram pickup truck pulled up. My uncle taps my leg and says, Ink, who is that? I said, man, it looks like my 8th grade math teacher and basketball coach. They said, what does he want? I said, what's up, Oak? How you doing, sir? He said, what are you doing? I said, I'm hanging out. He said, no, you didn't hear me. What are you doing out here? I said, I'm hanging out. He said, get in the truck. Take you home. Got in his truck, we rode down the block. I got out. He said to me, son, you're special. I said, all right, man, whatever. He said, son, I see something in you.
Sometimes, even if you're the most highly motivated person in the world, that grind starts to beat you down a little bit. And that's when you have to stop looking at the short-term thing, because that's not getting you to get it done. And you got to look, okay, what is the long-term goal that I'm looking at? What am I really trying to get done in the long term? And you say, oh, you know what? I'm actually waking up today early so I can be ahead of the curve, so I can sell more of these widgets or whatever, so that I can buy a house. And you know what? Today matters. Today matters. This decision that I'm making right now is that first step. It's me taking one stroke, swimming in the right direction, heading towards the shore. And if I don't take this, I'm not making any progress.
Well, some of you read that I think about when it's hot outside, that it's sunny and 70. Well, it's fucking not today. It's the reality. It's about 90 degrees and 100% humidity. But who gives a shit? That being said, September 3rd, I had to have my book turned in. And what I realized, I'm reading this book a lot, but I realized I wasn't born this motherfucker. I made him. At the bottom of insecurities, fear, self-doubt, lies, was me buried in the fucking fetal position. How I got out of that was recognizing it, being honest with it, being truthful with it, and then fixing it. We like to live on social media with lies about ourselves, how great we are. Get to the source and fix the problem. I'm a big believer in doing something that sucks every single day of your life. I believe it's a key component into strengthening your mind. Every day you're trying to find more of what you're capable of. And that's the big question. What are you capable of?
Learn from the mistakes of other people because you can't make them all yourself. And so I saw them selling drugs, but I also saw the outcome. And so I said, I'm not selling drugs. I'm not joining a gang because I see where that road leads to. Either I'm going to end up dead or in prison. I said, so my best bet may be to go to the NFL. And so I went to my cousin by the name of Tamon. I said, listen, man, I want to go to the NFL. I feel our family deserves a better way of life. Let's work for it. I said, we're going to be patient. We're going to engage in consistent action every night. And so every night we would go out and we would race light pole to light pole in Kirkwood. No shoes. Light pole to light pole every night. And so one night we were getting ready to race, and down the street came a big blue pickup truck. And it pulled over to the side, and out of it got a white guy. First white guy I ever saw in my life. True story. And my Uncle Bobo, who just got sentenced to 40 years in prison, he was on one corner. My other Uncle Johnny, he was on the other corner. My Uncle Bobo took off running and he looked at me. He said, Ink, don't talk to him. Saying to me, that guy has to be the police. Coach Trey walked up to us, nicest guy in the world. He said, would you kids like to play organized sports? I stepped to the front. I said, yes, sir. He said, go in the house and get your guardian. My Uncle JJ was there. I went in the house. I said, Unc, there's a guy outside. He asked me if he'd like to play organized sports. I told him yes. He said, well, I go in the house to get my guardian. I'm coming to get you. Will you please talk to him? Uncle said, sure. My uncle walked outside. Coach Trey said, would you like to sign these kids up for organized sports? My uncle said, yes, sir, but I hate to tell you, we don't have the money. He said, don't worry about the money. You get them to the park and I'll take care of it. That same guy still buys me drawers and socks until this day on Christmas, and I'm 29 years old, and he started when I was 7. But a weird thing happened one night. You see, most nights after practice, everybody would leave to go home, and I always had to sit in the park because my mother worked at Wendy. And my mother didn't get off work till about 10 o'clock, 10:30 most nights, and I'll be sitting there in the park, and I loved it. I didn't want anybody to take me home because when I went home, I was sleeping on the floor with roaches and rats. And so anytime I got in solitude to dream, anytime I got in solitude to think about what I wanted to do for my family and my community, I took advantage of it. And so most nights, I'll be sitting there in the park, and I'll be looking up at the lights. And I'll be envisioning myself doing things in the NFL, envisioning myself doing things for my community. And just as the lights would always go out, my mother, she would pull up, and she used to drive an old Buick Regal. Hubcaps off the car, seats torn up, the car was all beat up. And she would pull up and she would put the car in park. And I would always hop up, I would run over to my mother, I would give her a hug and a kiss. And I would say, Mom, if you don't mind, can you please sit back in your car? I have to do some extra drills. I have to go to the NFL. She would never have to work another day in your life. And I knew she was tired. And every night my mother would say, sure, Ink, and she would sit back in that car. Those car lights would hit that field, and here you had a 7-year-old kid doing backpedaling drills, running sprints, running laps, chasing his dream to go to the NFL. And just beyond those car lights, I could always connect with my mother's eyes. And so it made me dig a little bit deeper. It made me push myself a little bit further. It made me work a little bit harder. I live by this thing called the harder you work, the harder it is to surrender. You see, the reason people quit, they don't take pride in what they do. The harder you work, the harder it is to surrender. And I'm not just talking about business. I'm talking about winning simultaneously in every aspect of life. I'm not concerned with a person that does well in one aspect of their life and they can hang their hat there and say, man, I made a lot of money. You made a lot of money. You're a public success, but you're a private failure. What good is it to make a lot of money and you don't want to go home to your family? What good is it to make a lot of money and you don't take care of your kids? What good is it? You're a public success, but you're a private failure. And so how can we win simultaneously and take pride in everything that we do? And one night my mother couldn't pick me up and she called Coach Trey. She said, Coach, I can't make it tonight. Can you please take Inky home? And so he put me and about 8 guys in the back of his pickup truck, and he said, Inky, I'm gonna drop you off last. And so when he got to my house, I got out on the sidewalk, and I'm standing in front of 125 Warren Street, and I looked back at Coach Trey, and I said, why are you doing this? Because where I came from, people didn't just help you. It was, I pat you on your back, you gotta pat me on my back. You remember I did that for you, you gotta do this for me. And I said, why are you doing this? And he looked back at me and he said, son, I want to tell you something. And he said, I don't want you to ever forget it. He said, son, the more you make sure that somebody else's life is okay, God will always make sure that your life is okay.
Over caution. Some people never will have much. They're too cautious. Now, you can also be too reckless, but you can also be too cautious. This is called the timid approach to life. And my caution was always the risk. Risk used to drive me right up the wall. I used to say, what if this happens? It's called the language of the poor. What if this happens? And on top of that, if this was to happen, look at the fix I'd be in. I'd better not try. I could always ace myself out. Then I'll tell you what changed my whole life when I finally discovered it's all risky. The minute you were born, it got risky. If you think trying is risky, wait till they hand you the bill for not trying. If you think investing is risky, wait till you get the tab for not investing. See, it's all risky. Getting married is risky. Having children is risky. Going into business is risky. Investing your money is risky. It's all risky. I'll tell you how risky life is. You're not going to get out alive. The Englishman says, well, if that's the way it's going to work out, let's give it a go. Right, that's what it's for. Give it a go. Somebody says, yeah, but I'm looking for safety and security. Fine, then huddle in a corner. We'll cover you with a sheet, bring you 3 meals a day. And we'll protect you, feed you, look after you, care for you. We won't let anything happen to you. And you'll probably live to be 100. The guy said, well, yeah, I'd live to be 100. But what a way to live. Right. What a way to live, safe and secure. Don't ask for security. Ask for adventure. Better to live 30 years full of adventure than 100 years safe in the corner. And see, it's not important how long you live. What's important is how you live. The next one is pessimism. Pessimism, the deadly disease of always looking on the bad side, the problem side, the difficult side, checking all the reasons why it can't be done. The poor pessimist leads an ugly life. He doesn't try to figure out what's right. He tries to figure out what's wrong. He doesn't look for virtue. He looks for faults. And when he finds them, he's delighted. How ugly. This is the poor guy who looks through the window, doesn't see the sunset. He sees the specks on the window. And this is the poor guy, right, who rushes up, takes such leave of his senses. This guy rushes up and he says, I've got 5 good reasons why it won't work. He's so dumb, he doesn't know. All he needs 1. He's got 5. To the pessimist, the glass is always half empty. To the optimist, the glass is half full. Why would the same measure affect people 2 different ways? Answer. It all depends on how you look at it. Our lives are mostly affected by the way we think things are, not the way they are. The way we think they are affects us most. The last disease, but this one is deadly. Engage in this one, indulge in it even slightly, and you might as well forget the future because it's going to forget you. Complaining, crying, whining, griping, a Bible word called murmuring. See, that'll ace your future. Spend 5 minutes complaining and you have wasted 5. And you may have begun what's known as economic cancer of the bone. Surely they will soon haul you off into a financial desert and there let you choke on the dust of your own regret. I hope I said that well, so you won't forget. It's a deadly disease. If you don't think it's bad, ask the children of Israel of Old Testament fame. Typical of us all, their story just happened to get in the book. Story says, children of Israel were slaves. God performed a series of dazzling miracles and got them out. And now they're heading for the promised land. Remember the story? Heading for the promised land. Tragedy of the story, they never got there. Reason, from day 1, they started to complain. They griped about the water. They griped about the weather. They whined and cried and griped about the food. They griped about the leadership. They whined and cried because it was too far, too cold, too hot, too difficult, too miserable. I mean, they whined and cried for years. Finally, God said, I've had it, trip canceled. The story says they died in the desert, never got to the promise, which I think means 2 things. Indulge in this long enough, you get your future canceled. And I guess it also means even God himself can only take so much. Just be on the lookout of the things that can destroy all the good you start. The war is on. And this evening, tomorrow, mentally, personally, socially, economically, you got to make sure you're winning the war.
Okay, I know I'm lying to myself. I know that my discipline edge, my discipline blade, so to speak, is getting dull. All right? And I can see it when I look in the fucking mirror. And so can you, by the way. You want to know how hard you are? Look in the fucking mirror. That's an exact mirror image of how hard you are on the fucking inside. But here's the thing. Everybody sees people who look great, who have all the confidence, who have all the self-esteem, who have all this ability, who have all these things going for them, and they think they got it all figured out. They think it's easy for them, and that's one of the justifications that they tell themselves, all right? It's not like there aren't days I don't want to go to the gym. The truth is, most of the days I don't want to go to the gym, but I do, even though I don't feel like it. Doesn't matter if there's a fucking tornado, if there's a snowstorm, if there's a hurricane, if the fucking world is on fire, the job has to get done. It's about executing regardless of your emotions. All right. And that's a well-covered topic. I talk about it a lot. All right. But what almost no one talks about is starting to love the days you have to execute, that you have to perform, that you have to get the job done, especially when you don't feel like it. That's what I call test days, and that's what I want to cover with you guys. These test days, guys, these are the days that test your qualities. They test your characters. They test who you think you are.
I was with a friend who went to the hospital one day. His grandmother was dying. He kept calling, my dear, I love you. And she said, I'm not going to make it, but I called you down here because I want to ask you something. Do you know your great-grandfather's name. He said, no, Ma, dear, I don't. She said, you know why? She said, because he didn't leave you nothing. She said, I want you to go away from here, and I want you to live your life so that your children's grandchildren will know your name. And when I heard that, it changed me. I said, wow, I'm going to start living my life so that my grandkids' kids know my name. Then I've accomplished the deal.
You look at your life, you look at what you produce. Is it giving you what you want? Are you living on purpose? Are you living your dream? Are you acting on your ideas? Are you procrastinating? Are you evading your own greatness? Is your life an adventure or is it boring? See, a lot of people go to work every day miserable, and all they do is just talk about how miserable they are. You've got to find ways to increase your sense of self-appreciation, because if you don't, you will find yourself unconsciously engaged in self-destructive behavior. If you don't program yourself, life will program you.
You gotta run. You gotta run. You can't just wake up in the morning, let me see what's gonna happen today. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know where I'm gonna go. I just woke up. Oh, you should stay in the bed. Give the day to somebody who has a plan, because success is never an accident. And if you don't want it, get out of my way. Because there are some people who want to do something with their life who will run.
God has put gifts and talents in you. You have something to offer that nobody else has. But it's easy to let fear hold us back. What if I try and it doesn't happen? What if people don't accept me? Too often, we're letting the what ifs talk us out of it. My message today is very simple. Quit hiding what God has given you. When God breathed His life into you, He lit your candle. He created you to shine, to make a difference, to leave your mark. We need your talent. We need your creativity. We need your smile. You can't play it safe your whole life and become who you were created to be. You can't wait till the fear goes away and then you'll do it. When I get my courage up, then I'll teach that class. Then I'll start my business. Then I'll go out on that date. You're going to have to do it in spite of the fear. I feel afraid, but fear is not going to control my life. I'm going to take a step of faith. No one that's ever done anything great in life has done it without fear. They felt the fear, but they did it afraid. It's now or never. You either take that step of faith or that moment will not pass by again. When you're close to releasing your gift, you will feel fear more than ever. That's the enemy trying to deceive you into keeping your gift hidden. He doesn't want you to go where no one in your family has gone. He'll work overtime to try to convince you to shrink back, play it safe. Well, what if I fail? You get up and try again. Every failure is preparing you. You will learn more through failure than you will through success. You can't be so afraid of failure that you won't get out of your comfort zone. Even if it doesn't work out, you're learning. You're one step closer to seeing it happen. When we come to the end of life, nothing will be more disappointing than to think, what would have happened if I would have taken that step of faith? Where would I be if I wouldn't have hid my gifts, hid my talents, hid my creativity? Friends, life is short. Don't let the fear of people, the fear of failure, the fear of being criticized hold you back. I don't want people talking badly about me. Can I tell you, respectfully, somebody's talking about you right now. Somebody is jealous of your success. People are going to talk whether you settle or whether you stretch. You might as well stretch and pursue what God put in your heart. What they say doesn't determine who you are. Every person has negative chatter. Tune it out. Quit letting it upset you. God hears what they're saying. He'll fight your battles. He'll be your vindicator. Everyone is not supposed to be for you.
You can't reach your destiny without opposition. Joseph would have never taken the throne without his brothers throwing him into a pit. David would have never become king without Goliath. Some enemies are designed as a part of your destiny. They're not going to stop you, they're going to promote you. Keep running your race, not looking to the left nor to the right. Other people may not be able to see your gifts. They don't know what God's put in you. Don't let the fear of what they think hold you back. You're not going to give an account to people of what you did with your life. We're going to give an account to God. You can talk yourself into your dreams, or you can talk yourself out of your dreams. Quit telling yourself that you can't do it. You don't have the training. Get rid of those excuses and start telling yourself what God says about you. You are strong. You are blessed. You are favored. You have been fearfully and wonderfully made. I wouldn't be standing here if I had not learned to step out even though I felt afraid. What are you hiding? Your gifts? Your personality? It's time to let your light shine. Quit hiding your smile. Brighten our day. Quit hiding your encouragement. Lift somebody up. If you can write, start writing. If you can build, start building. That gift was not meant to stay hidden. It's not doing you any good, nor is it doing us any good as long as you keep it to yourself. The wealthiest place on earth is in the graveyards. Buried in those graves are hidden dreams, books that were never written, businesses never started, inventions never invented. I'm asking you to release what you have. God didn't give you that dream so that it could stay buried. We have a responsibility. God has entrusted us with gifts and talents. Don't live passively, just taking whatever life brings your way. Shake off the complacency and get focused. Where could you be at this time next year if you got rid of the distractions and you put all your effort into the main thing God put in your heart? You can do many things good, but you can't do many things great. Find that one thing and excel at it. Focus on your one thing and do it to the best of your ability. Jesus told a parable about a businessman that was going on a trip. He called 3 employees over. He gave one 5 talents, another 2 talents, and the third 1 talent. The man with 5 talents went out and invested his and gained 5 more. The man with 2 gained 2 more. But the man with 1 talent was afraid. What if the economy goes down? What if somebody steals it from me? So he went and buried his talent in the ground. You'll never increase as long as you're living fear-based. Fear of people, fear of what could happen. All 3 men had the same opportunity. 2 did something with their gifts. The third, he played it safe and buried it. The owner came back. The man with the 5 talents said, here are the 5 you gave me, plus 5 more I gained. The man with the 2, here are the original 2, plus 2 more. Again, well done. The third man came up and said, sir, I didn't want to lose what you gave me, so I hid my talent. Here's the 1 back that you gave me. The owner was expecting a profit. It wasn't acceptable to just give back what was given. He was expecting increase. He was angry. He took that talent and gave it to the man that had 5. It's interesting, the man didn't lie, he didn't cheat, he didn't kill somebody, he didn't have an affair. What did he do? He hid what God gave him. You and I have been given gifts. God has entrusted us with them. Like that owner, we're going to see him. He's going to ask, what did you do with the talents I gave you? God has given us all different abilities. We're not competing with each other. You don't have to keep up with your neighbor. What matters is, what are you doing with what you have? Have you buried it? Or are you living faith-based, growing, stretching, increasing, looking for opportunities, believing you have seeds of greatness? Are you burying what you should be showing and showing what you should be burying? Why don't you start burying the insecurity, burying the doubt, burying what the critics have said, and start showing your talent? If you will bury the fear and show your faith, you'll see increase. You'll see new levels.
So here's one of the key expressions of the evening. Take a new inventory of yourself and make sure that all of your talent and ability and mentality and ingenuity and vitality and strong feelings, courage, make sure that all you've got's being used. Otherwise, you lose.